Getting out of hotel quarantine seems to be a big plan for New South Wales when eventually the borders start to reopen to international travel, which we expect to happen sooner rather than later. It will be the exception to the rule for how things work around the country. There is a system being trialled right now in South Australia, but let's talk to the bloke who's got to put it all in place in New South Wales, and that is Stuart Ayres, the Minister for Jobs and Tourism in New South Wales, and a very proud Penny Panthers man joining us now.
Definitely, Paul.
Yeah, nervous about that GF, ready to go?
Yeah, the town's obviously a little bit more subdued with all of the COVID restrictions, so that's immensely disappointing, but I know that they're absolutely behind all the players and looking forward to Sunday, that's for sure.
I want everyone in Pantherland and everyone in Southland to watch the game with their windows open and just scream out and just get that lovely roar happening across different streets. But let's talk about home quarantine. So we know about the system where essentially you can use your mobile phone to guarantee that you are where you promised to be. Where is that in New South Wales, trial versus full implementation?
Yeah, so we're just about to start a trial next week. We announced a couple of weeks ago that we'd go to this trial of home quarantine. We've got some Qantas crew that we're going to use as part of that trial, as well as selecting people who are already on flights that are coming back into Australia. It's really a technology trial, Paul, and we're going to work out how effective that system is, whether we should roll it out at scale. Because ultimately, hotel quarantine needs to go to the way of the dodo. It's not what is sustainable into the long term. It's very much past its use-by date. And so we really want to be able to move into an environment where we can get people out of that hotel quarantine system and into their home. And eventually, if you're double vaccinated, we really want to be in a position where you can engage as quickly as possible in the community. That's for returning Australians, people who have been trapped overseas, but also we want to be able to open up New South Wales to international travellers, particularly those who have been fully vaccinated, to come in and really support our tourism sector. They've done it immensely tough over the last 20-odd months, and we really want to be able to open up the state as quickly as we can to people right across the country. But if we can't open borders to other states, then we want to be able to open them internationally.
Yeah, I mean, give us a timeline roughly here, where I know you're not going to give me a dead date on something like this, but give me an idea. If somebody once fully reopened 70, 80% or 80%, dare I say, and they decide, you know what, bugger it, I'm going to go to insert separate country, right? Obviously, there'll be plenty more flights. There won't be flight caps, all of that business, or the caps will be way higher in New South Wales, so you can actually get guaranteed ability to return. How long off do you think it would be before this becomes the system as opposed to caps and hotel quarantine for New South Wales?
Paul, I think this is a really dynamic environment. I think we're going to move through these stages pretty quickly. We've got our trial set up for all of October, but I can see changes being implemented as early as the middle of November and then moving another step forward in December. We've announced our roadmap out to opening the economy. On the 1st of December, we've got people who are fully vaccinated, people who are unvaccinated being able to do pretty much everything right across the economy. That says to me that if you've met at least vaccination requirements, there's no reason why you can't engage in the community. So I'm seeing a stepped approach. Trial first in October, changes in November to allow it easier for larger numbers of people to get into home quarantine. Importantly, we're trialling a 7-day home quarantine period through the course of October. We want to test whether we need to hold people that long or whether we can do other things like PCR tests and allow them to engage in the community, particularly if they're double vaccinated. And then I think moving towards a much more open environment in December.
Last one, really quick. For people who are thinking about internal travel in New South Wales, if they're booking something for late December, early January, is there any chance that the areas that they're booking would somehow go back into lockdown? Can people book with confidence once the joint reopens?
Yeah, I think they can, Paul. So it's important that people don't book for particularly that week to 10 days between 70 and 80%. I know that was originally our plan, but we've just taken a slightly more cautious approach and moving to that 80% position. So don't book before then, but after 80%, Greater Sydney will be able to move into regional New South Wales. But I think people can book with confidence across regional New South Wales. People in regional New South Wales can book with confidence coming into Sydney. There's always going to be a small prospect of, if there's a local outbreak, that that gets a little bit of a run on, the public health orders are going to force some changes in those particular locations. But with vaccination rates rapidly increasing, and particularly right across regional New South Wales, I think people can book with confidence.
Mate, the second I can, I'm smoking up a storm and gambling up a double storm in the Tweed as fast as I possibly can. Good on you. All the best for the weekend,
Thanks
mate.
very much, Paul.